worried that you might be the cool kid? You wear the latest fashions on top of all the trends? Or have you ever worried you were too much in the mainstream? Always so generic, more normal than your friends? Well, we've devised a test to put to rest your fears. There's no need to panic if you lend us your ears. Tonight you can't sleep easy after all that you've heard. Cause if you like the show, then you're probably a nerd. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all. Tyler, Phil, and Boris. Oh, Canon, it's Canon, it's all in Canon.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the It's Canon podcast, the show where we love to chat about anything and everything geek, the show where we chat about some Lego, the show where we chat about books, comic books, tech news, anything and everything. And the best part of it all is that it's all in canon. We're your hosts. I'm Boris, and as always, I am joined by Phil.
Hey everybody, if you're ever wondering why we try to cut the episode short, it's because I'm so old I can't go that long without peeing.
Christ. Jesus Christ, Phil. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
I was talking with my brother this week, and he was telling me that he's enrolled in this post, first career training at a college, and they sit there, and it's to the point now where there's so much cheating on tests that when somebody's filling out their test, they have to put their head down. They're not allowed to raise their head, not allowed to leave the room, not allowed to access anything. Like you have to sit there and do everything, pencil in hand, fill it all out and hand it in. The teacher comes back to my brother and goes, "Hey, you're normally like a 98% student, and you only got 87% on this test. What happened?" And he goes, "I'm in my 50s, and I'm sitting there for that long. I have to get up and pee. For the last 10 questions, I just guessed and got the hell out of there."
Amazing.
Just can't do that anymore.
Amazing. Oh, I hear you. I know that feeling. Well, I don't know that feeling. I hope I don't have to feel that for another 20 years, but it is what it is. Phil, awesome to be back. We took a couple weeks off with the long weekend here in Canada, which was Victoria Day, and in the States, which was Memorial Day. You just gotta get some break in. It was super busy here. For me, I know that you had your own stuff. Tyler was chomping at the bit last week and this week, and stuff happens, and that's why it's just you and I right now. But we'll eventually, all three of us will eventually be back at some point in some shape, way, or form. We'll do it. As I was talking to Phil just earlier, really, there's a higher possibility of us doing some shows together. We have the possibility of using a studio. That will be fun. Dude, I don't know what's wrong with my levels. Maybe I'm just losing my head, my brain. I don't know what's going on, but we have an exciting show for you. We got some stuff to talk about. We're going to use the show as a catch up because it's been a while, and man, it's just been crazy. But Phil, most importantly, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Had a fun little procedure last week, which is why I bailed out of the Monday show, because I didn't really realize the problem that I have is that I have to go fairly regularly for a treatment for my eye health, which is why I like to wear these types of glasses that reduce the amount of blue light and whatnot on my eyes when staring at screens and whatnot all day. And it puts me under for the day, and I typically ignore it until a few days before the appointment. I get this text from the doctor that, you're due in to come for it. And it's like, great. All right, I gotta go do that. So, sucks. It's part of the peeing and getting old. Otherwise things are great. Health is all good. There's lots of stuff happening in the geek verse, right? Like we had Ted Lasso closed down. We had
Tons of shows. We've had
tons of shows.
Just last week alone, Ted Lasso, Barry, Succession, all ended essentially within a couple days of each other, which was crazy, man, because those three
Yeah.
shows had really good endings, in my opinion. We'll talk a little bit about Ted Lasso, but we got to plan the full Ted Lasso, the series,
Yeah.
at least season 1 to 3 rundown, and that'll be a special episode at some point. We'll be doing that, but yeah, man, TV, a
And
lot of
then
shows are ending. Go ahead.
oh, sorry, we've got great stuff coming up too. Like Silo is on right now on Apple TV, which is kind of like this sci-fi mystery thing that's got a pretty good budget and whatnot, and pretty good acting going on and writing from what I can tell. I haven't been drilling down on that one as much, but I'm watching it in the background kind of passively, almost like that one we did, Snowpiercer and whatnot. It's just kind of on when I'm looking for something to watch. But yeah, it's there's a lot of interesting stuff in the space, right? And you have to remember all the new stuff coming out too with Lucasfilm, and just they seem to be like Disney are just going crazy with firing stuff into the theaters and looking at what's going on there with Spider-Man, with Mario Brothers, with Little Mermaid, with all this stuff, and Indiana Jones, and we have Transformers, and then we just got Ahsoka slipping in at some point. I'm expecting trailer 2 to drop. And then the video game universe, you've got things like Diablo 4. Like, holy crap. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
like stuff's lining up this summer for some big releases.
Yeah, this
So,
summer, like we talked about the video game world, right? You had Street Fighter just coming out. We had Star Wars. We've had obviously Legend of Zelda, which I love the meme
yep.
with a lot of people get. You know how, especially with Apple, you get those notifications whatever day saying how much screen time you've used compared to the previous week, right? And I
Yeah.
just love how the big meme is like, oh, you've used 50% less screen time, but then you see the person actually playing Legend of Zelda, Tears of
Yeah.
the Kingdom. So it's like, and I have friends who have admitted, like, yeah, I'm barely on my phone because every spare second that I have is used playing The Legend of Zelda right now.
It's funny. I bought the game. Here's my hot take. All right. This is not going to go over well with some people.
Alex, just get ready.
It's not the game for me. I freaking hate it.
Yeah, but you're an old man. Your hand-eye coordination just isn't what it used to be.
No, my hand-eye is fine.
You can't read maps. You got no hand-eye coordination.
It's too open world. That's what it is. I'm gonna go off and watch grass grow virtually. It's weird. I'm just like, oh look, a nice place to sit down and stay. Whereas the game only basically it's so open-ended, and they need to be applauded for it. I'm not taking away from the game and its achievement and the fans who love it. Like, go have fun. I love the excitement level. Honestly, the excitement level drew me back into it after figuring this out with that other one, the other Zelda that I bought the Switch for. And I'm just like, oh, you know what? This kind of sucks because it's really hard to figure out what you're supposed to do as a guy who played the original Zelda game on the NES, right? And was always playing it with someone else playing it, like I was playing while watching. But yeah. I'm telling you, it's not a popular opinion. I'm not proud of it, but I turned it on, I played the intro, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to Jedi Survivor. Which my other
That's amazing.
young friend comes to me and goes, isn't that the one that's like Dark Souls, which you said you hate? And I'm like, yeah, except it's Star Wars, so I love it.
Oh my God, Phil. What are we gonna do with you? What are we gonna do with you? What am I gonna do with you? Jesus Christ, Phil. The older you get, I feel
I'm
like
trying. I'm trying. Like it's like I say, I'm not hating on it. It's just not for me. I
Yeah.
realized that after a day. I'm like, oh, this is way too much for me. I don't understand the sword. I don't. Yeah.
No, it is what it is. But that's, you know what? But that's kind of like what I like about us. Like, you Tyler and I have such different opinions on almost everything.
Yep. It's almost like 3 generations right there. Just
Yeah.
3
Oh,
3
really? Yeah, because
tables.
it's like he's later on in the 80s than me, right? So you're in like what, the 30s, the 40s, right? So it's like I love how it took you a second. I love how it took you a second. But it's true. Like, and Zelda can be very intimidating, right? Like, we just got a comment. Zelda can be very intimidating because this game is 2.5 times the size of the last one. And you know
Yeah.
what's crazy? Okay, so have you seen the latest footage for Spider-Man 2 on Sony?
I've seen a bit of it, yeah.
How are you
I
gonna
watched
deal with that game? Because that
I don't
map,
know. I might
you're
have
gonna
that problem.
queens.
I might have that problem.
Right?
But the thing is that what Zelda lacks in old man motivation here. All right? I'm gonna cater it specifically to my issue. What Zelda lacks, in my opinion, out of what I've played, it's not at all a review, it's just a observation, is that I can sit there and go in Jedi Survivor, which remember how much I struggled with Fallen Order, with just trying to
Yes.
navigate the map and whatnot, because the multi-levels just didn't translate well into the dimensional holographic thing that they were doing. In at least Jedi Survivor, you can fast travel. You just need to get to a meditation point and you can fast travel. But I can choose to do a side menu, a side mission. I can choose to do a rumor that will open up a side mission, or I can choose to just stick to the main story. It presents all things equally to me, and it is my choice. Tyler's going on about, "Oh, you haven't got to hear with the fishing yet?" I didn't. I found the person that said, "Yeah, fishing's great. You should try it." No, thanks. Kept on walking, went on to the story mission, and the game didn't penalize me for it. Whereas I don't know where that boundary is with Zelda, and that just
That's the
might
thing.
be an inexperience
There
thing with me,
isn't.
but that's it.
There
It's just like I'll read up or look at a YouTube thing and it says, "Oh, you need to get this Icarus sword or whatever from this guy, and that means you need to go to this end of the map, and then you have to fight that guy, and then when he gives you that sword, then you can progress on to this area." And I'm like, "Qu'est-ce que c'est? Où est la direction?"
Yeah.
And it's not there, and I'm just like, "Okay, well, maybe a Zelda fan knows that because this was part of a previous thing." But, yeah, Zelda, do whatever you want. Nothing is mandatory. I love that idea, but it just feels like when I see all these social media posts about all this stuff, I just get overwhelmed. But maybe I should give it another dip. I only put 1 toe in. I'll put a foot in at some point when there's a little bit of a die down and a little bit more of a beginner's guide that comes out that's actually watchable and instructable for me, and then I'll get through it.
See this comment here. Zelda fans will try to get you to do random stuff, but honestly, it doesn't matter. And that's what I'm finding, right? This is
Yeah.
I was literally having this conversation with someone earlier, and that's like they go on YouTube and they save a YouTube and they'll save a bunch of YouTubes for this game. It's like just do what you want. You do you. Everyone's experience seems to be very different with this game, right? Everyone's having their own whatever like their own order to do stuff. Like I know someone who is doing stuff in the opposite order of what is recommended, but recommended by whom, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing, right? And I think this is what's interesting and glorious and beautiful and scary about this new Legend of Zelda game. And this is where I give credit to the developers and the story makers and the writers, and that's as non-linear as this game is, it's still telling a somewhat linear story in its weird way. So it doesn't matter what you do and what order you go to do
Mm.
stuff, you're still getting the full brunt of the story. And that's what I really enjoyed about Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild, literally, you could fight Ganon if you really wanted to, if you had the cojones to do it.
Yeah, you weren't gonna get far, but it's a fair point, and maybe I need to adjust my logic because I am guilty of getting to a point at which I feel like there should be an arrow or an NPC nudging me in a direction heavily, and I don't see that happening. So then I go to YouTube and then I get somebody interpreting the game for me, telling me what and where to do it, because that's basically what has become what video games do now. There's no more hint books. There's no more strategy guides. There's no more, because the strategy guides back in the day in the 90s and whatnot used to be written, and you'd have like, if you just want to get through it, do this. If you want to find these side quests and do these 3 things, here's the 3 things and their locations and what you're going to need to do. I'm actually enjoying that part of Jedi Survivor in the sense that once I unlock something, I start going back in the area that I unlocked it and start ripping apart other areas that they obviously planted stuff in and thought that I'd forget about, like when the BD droid can shoot the black goop. And it's just like, oh, okay. All of a sudden, I can go back and solve all of these other puzzles and get shards and the different little things in the game. That's all fun, but yeah.
Nothing. I was just gonna say, as long as you don't shard yourself, you're good.
Yeah, as long as you don't shard yourself, exactly. But, I'm figuring out vendors and things like that in that game, and it might just be another possibility of old man Phil's brain can only do so much in so many video games.
Having
Because
said that, you know who else has this issue? My brother.
I don't blame him. I can relate to that.
Like, he can't wrap his head around modern gaming.
Well, I can certainly wrap my head around modern gaming, but only one at a time. Like if I start separating from Jedi Survivor too hard now, if the pull of Zelda starts becoming too much, if I dip my toe back in, then the problem is I'm going to forget everything I learned about Survivor in terms of how the buttons work and how the gameplay and who to see and everything like that. If I take more than a week off, I'm done. Like, especially if I'm reloading stuff up here in the noggin and going, oh yeah, you got to build this and do this. Because Zelda, hands down, remarkable achievement. Like, the
Look,
game is great,
you
especially
know
running
what?
on a thing that's been sitting on my desk for 7 years collecting dust. It fired up no problem. It's driving my monitor. It's playing the game, and I'm having like instantly like, hey, this is great. This is great. I can tell there's a really well done, everything, every aspect of production of this game is fantastic. And Nintendo deserves a standing applause. I'm not the guy that says that. I'm just going, whoa, it's a tough one to approach
Look,
from a certain video game point of view.
December is going to be very interesting this year when the video game awards come around, because this year, we've talked about this in the past, the competition is heavy. You have a new Final Fantasy game, you have Star Wars, you have Diablo, which when Diablo comes out always gets tons of attention, right? You have Street Fighter,
Yeah.
and then there's a bunch of other games that I'm probably missing
Final
out. Forgetting
Fantasy
of
16.
Yeah,
Final
we already
Fantasy
mentioned that.
16.
Yep,
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I
that
missed
was the
it.
first one I said.
Oh,
Just saying.
yep. Fair.
Spider-Man, that comes out this year, right?
Yeah,
But I don't
that's
know what the
fall
deadline is. Anyways,
fall or
point is,
winter. Yeah.
the point I'm trying to make is this: every game that has come out that's AAA title has had issues on day one, for the most part, except for one game. That's The Legend of Zelda. Yeah, there were bugs, but you know what's funny? These these exploits, as people are starting to call them, and there's a huge debate in the internet whether the developer should care enough to fix them, because some people want to use exploits to finish the game quicker or whatever, right?
Mm.
Hands down, Zelda, in my opinion, should win Game of the Year up to this point for the simple fact that it just worked.
Yeah, except for the patch that they just released that eliminated a big hack.
But that's the point, right? No, but that's literally what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and that's been the debate. In my opinion, the developers deserve more kudos because they didn't have to fix that.
Hey, I'll put into that same category. The only thing that crapped the bed on Jedi Survivor was the PC port. Stop it. If you're not ready with the PC part, then just release the console game and delay the PC port another week or two, whatever you need to do to finish it. That would be my advice, because otherwise we'd be saying the same thing about Jedi Survivor. I think we're probably going to be saying the same thing about Diablo 4, except for server waits.
Server day one issues. And
Yeah.
okay, so
I'm a
big
Blizzard fan. I have the welts to show it.
Yeah, you have a lot to show. You a lot of scars in your body over Blizzard, right? And
Oh god,
here's
yeah.
the thing about Diablo 4 day one. Their server, and this wasn't even a day one issue. This was the pre-release, the early access issue where the servers were so overloaded, but people found a hack. Do you know what that hack was, Phil?
No.
If you made a microtransaction, it put you into the server queue.
Oh, jeez. Figures.
So there was something in the account management where it was blocking you because it wasn't that the servers were overloaded. It was that you weren't being authenticated into the server properly, and a microtransaction of whatever amount kind of triggered your
Boots you.
profile to go into the queue.
Well, I'm gonna be the
So
last guy in queue forever because I'm making a decision. I actually had to wind this one down and go, I beta tested it. I participated in that beta stuff. All right. And then when it came time to buy it, didn't buy any of the pre-release stuff, didn't buy anything. I'm not giving any company my money anymore until I see what the release window looks like. And unless it's on Game Pass or something like that, I'm just gonna sit there and wait until I spend my money. And then you know what I'm gonna buy ultimately with Diablo 4 when I buy into it, probably next weekend or something. It's gonna be the base version because I don't care about seasons passes. I don't care about anything other than playing the single player game and maybe some multiplayer game if I can get some multiplayer friends that want to play it. But I don't want to do the seasons pass progression. You know what I mean? Like once I hit max out and I get the story, peace out, guys. Have fun. If there's an expansion that's good, I'll do it. But if it's a seasons pass that's just going to rake money in as a live service, I'm out. I'm done. No, thank you, son. I'm not going to sit here and farm my life away in a video game. Thanks so much for Warhammer or World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, Blizzard. You had me, for 20 years on that one? Have fun. I'm not paying for that crap anymore, especially with your company. At 25
I
bucks
refuse to pay live service. Let's not even touch live service, right? Yeah. But I refuse to pay for early release or season pass or extremely gold perfect edition after I got burned for Battlefront back in 2015.
Yep. I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. And that's the thing. There's only so many times right now that the word on the street is Square Enix is freaking out about pre-sale numbers for Final Fantasy 16. And it's because I think everybody now is like, screw that. I'm not buying into it until I know it works. And like the only reason why Starfield is going to turn around and kick this in the pants whenever it gets released later this year is that it's free on Game Pass. You know what I mean? Like it's included in Game Pass. I downloaded Redfall. I still haven't fired it up. I don't think I will. I'm going to delete it just so I'm an anomaly of the statistics of people that showed interest, saw the headlines, and then just said, nah, thanks. Just take your garbage away from my console. Oh, I feel salty.
No. But this is the thing, right? And I've had this conversation on other people's podcasts as a guest, and essentially, right? Like we just have to become smarter consumers, and I'm seeing it at times. I'm seeing that we're becoming smarter consumers, but I just don't see it long term, right? People are still being dumb. People are still pre-purchasing. People are still purchasing garbage, and then Phil, we get mad when we buy garbage.
Yeah, well, understandable. Anybody who bought Golem, rest in peace, because you just bought garbage.
You know, I didn't even know that was a game until like the day before, until it got leaked.
Like it kind of was like I saw it on shows, but there wasn't a lot of hype around it because it's a small studio that did it, and they really did it. I don't know if it's just the ambition of the studio or what, but they really put a foot in their mouth. The other one this week that came out that I am more upset about is Aspire really screwed the pooch on KOTOR 2.
Yes.
Oof, they marketed that game as having that player built expansion on it to properly deliver the full story that basically BioWare took out because they were under too many constraints. I have the physical original Xbox copy on my back shelf here behind me. Anyhow, they hacked and slashed that game to meet a release window. And what ended up happening is the fans rebuilt this thing and put it in as an upgrade on Steam. And this was going to be a chance for fans that play on consoles, specifically, the Switch, to get access to that. And then they abandoned the project and basically offered people free games instead of a refund a year later. Like, that is terrible. Aspire was in a pretty good spot for me as a fan because they did so well on so many other Star Wars remakes. And they just now, I can't trust them as a consumer. And not that I bought into it or anything, but I can watch what other people are doing. And yeah, here's the bottom line as far as I'm concerned about being a consumer. Yes, I'm going to learn and I'm going to be more careful with my money, but video games should be fun. And when they're not fun, when you're grinding for like Destiny, I don't know how much I ground, but I must have done about 30 hours a week in Destiny in my spare time, grinding runs to get, legendaries and everything like that. Like, I spent a lot of time and I have no memory of any of it. What's the point? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point in logging in every day after work, going and playing for 4 or 5 hours, going to bed, go back, do the cycle until you get to the weekend where you and your mates can do a really epic like raid, and then you do it. And then it's like, oh, okay. Well, then we got more virtual gear that we have nothing to show for it. Like, you know what I mean? Now it's games as a service. So they want to make money off of that. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like, you don't want to spend all that time. I'll just put your credit card number in and give us $20,000 and we'll give you everything. And that's what Diablo 4 is going to be like. Like, we're talking about some of the cosmetic stuff costing $28 American to buy. This is nuts. Like, look at how much money people spent on that Diablo Immortal game, right? Like, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that people like flipped away just so they could have these rare element crystals and everything. And you know that that's what they're going to do because they told everybody, no, 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 this won't be pay to play. This won't be pay to play. The whole game was pay to play. They're adamant right now. Diablo 4 won't be pay to play, won't be pay to play. It's going to be. Guarantee you.
Man, no, it's tough. Like it's so weird right now because I think in all of that, like the thing that really stuck to me on what you were saying is games need to be fun, right? And
Yes.
the whole grinding thing, if it starts feeling like your job after your job, that's when I'm like, no mas. That's when I'm like calling it a day,
Yep.
and that's it.
For me, Jedi Survivor is great because it's a topic I like. It's a universe I'm enjoying. It's new avenues of expression. I sit down, I play that for an hour or two each night, have a big smile on my face, get to a meditation point. That's it for tonight. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yep.
having fun with it. I'm not sitting up till late at night. I'm not trying to get grind something or whatever. It's just like, oh look, that's cool. Really like that. Great. I'm playing it in story mode. Not gonna lie. And I
You
don't
know,
care. I consider that a win. I'm just like, who cares? I had to.
You know what I was thinking of earlier, and I just don't understand gamers and gaming, and maybe it is my age showing to a certain extent, right? But those people, like I saw that someone reached level 100 in Diablo 4, and I'm like, congrats. Now what are you gonna do, right? Like, first off,
Yeah.
how the fuck did you do it? And second off, it's like, now what? Like, you feel special? You want a hero biscuit that you did that? Like, I don't
Oh,
understand that.
you know what you do? You do it in like a frat house and you take shifts. That's how you do that in the weekend. Like, that's how all these guys do it in all these video games, right? It's just like, guess what? The hard work pays off, though, guys. So if he gets there first, the game can't even handle the 100. So there's no end game stuff that's going to be basically populated around for that because they're going to wait until larger percentages of players get up there in a well balanced game. But like, that's what I did with Forza Horizon 5. I'm still in the top 1% of 30 million active players, active with an asterisk. But it's just through hard work, daily grinding. But if it isn't fun, then don't do it. Like, I just go in and do my dailies. It's no big deal. I have every single car in that game. I've got a little alligator beside my name as a badge for having over 700 cars. I've only seen 2 other people with it, right? So far that I've seen in my multiplayer experience, but I'm sure there's way more. But yeah, it's just like you're still going to get there. You're still going to feel satisfied. You don't have to be the guy who's on top of Everest. I remember celebrating level 60 because that was the level cap in World of Warcraft with my little dwarf barbarian or little dwarf tank guy, Conky with his cat. Oh, he was a hunter with his cat, Steve French. So yes, I watched the Trailer Park Boys, ladies and gentlemen.
Amazing. Video games, how much I love you, but I hate you all at the same time. But you know what I loved? And without a percentage, without a hair on my body hating,
What was that?
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
Holy
I'm
shit,
jealous.
Phil. If there's a movie that you're going to break your dank and moist theater experience for,
I may
go in the
just
middle of the day. Go in the
Yeah.
middle of the day. Go to a newer theater. Go to a small one. I really don't give a shit what you do, but go watch this movie.
Yeah. This might be the one that breaks me.
This movie.
I was looking at the reviews today and just hearing like like people are sitting there going, I don't know how you made a better movie than the last one. And I've got that
That's-
last one up pretty high on the shelf. So
Dude, this movie is perfection in every way. In writing, in action, in story, in creativity, in every possible way. This movie, for me, is a 10. This is a
Wow.
10 out of 10 movie. This is a 10 out of 10 movie. Movie of the year for me so far. Best comic book movie adaptation maybe ever.
Wow.
Yes, I'm saying that. Boris, with an absolute
Wow.
statement like that.
Yeah, this might be 2 weeks from now. Taking an afternoon off or going after work, finishing up and going after work to a 4:00 matinee.
You know when you should watch this? The weekend that everyone's watching The Flash.
Oh, yes. Or Indiana Jones.
No one's going to watch Indiana Jones, so you don't have to worry about that one.
I think there's going to be a lot of people watching Indiana Jones, but it might
all
not be
right,
the
like
same
between
crowd.
my age and
But
your
Flash,
age.
yeah, Flash, you're right. That's going to pull.
Even for 1 week, Flash will pull.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Especially
think
with
Flash has legs.
mysterious ending that everyone keeps talking about.
I think Flash will have legs. Like, look, we've all known Spider-Man across, like this Spider-Verse thing was going to be huge. Like that first movie, and you know what? Like, even if they had no crazy ideas to keep it going forward, they just had to try to emulate what they did, and they were just gonna do well with that. And it looks like they put the work in. So,
Yep, it was honestly perfection.
Alex saying
agrees.
it's perfect, and also
Here's the
saying his
thing.
dad Juan doesn't like 3D games. Well, I'm not
Yep.
quite there yet. Juan's showing the gray hair a little bit more than me on that one.
It literally is. But honestly, this movie is perfection. Like you say, if there's a movie that you're gonna break your dink and moist studio theater banishment for, this has to be it, man. It's so good. And honestly, literally before just blew everyone's ears. Literally before the movie started, I turned to my nephew and I say, there's not a lot of movies that I needed to watch in the theater. Right?
Yeah.
I forget what we were talking about. But after the movie, I'm like, I am so happy that I did watch this in the theater. Like, it's a movie that should be watched in the theater. I am so happy that my nephew pushed me to go IMAX for this movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I might
Not
have to make the
3D.
trip.
That kid can't do 3D. I think he's getting motion sickness or something. But IMAX.
Fair.
You need to watch it on IMAX.
That's a bit of a trip. That has to go a little bit further for me. Not far, but for a little bit further.
But yeah, very good. And I'm not even gonna say anything else. But such a good movie. Honestly, this is perfection in every shape, way, or form, and humor at the right times.
Yay!
Not inserted like an MCU movie.
What? Intelligent writing? What?
You know,
Treating the audience like they have a brain? What?
Lord and Miller do not get the credit that they deserve.
I know. Solo.
Well, not you can't be perfect.
No, well, the Ron Howard came in and ruined that one. I'm joking. We don't know what that movie was, but I will say this. I was curious more than anything to see what Solo was going to be if it was Lord and Miller doing it, right? But I do think that them bounding into this project as a result of that is kind of like the scuttlebutt. Great. Fantastic. I think they've done a great job. It's kind of funny because a girl I used to date, her cousin is one of the animators off of that movie, that first one.
there you
I
go.
don't know if the second one, but he was up there nominated for an Academy Award. So
There you go. Sheridan alum.
something out in Vancouver,
Oh, all right.
Vancouver studio.
There's an homage to a previous Lord and Miller movie that you're gonna love in this one. I will say that much.
Mm.
So
It's gonna be weird
Yeah.
how they do Solo in a Sony movie. Kidding.
No, but yeah, no, this movie is honestly perfection. It was so well done, almost to the point where I want to watch it again. And it takes a lot for me to watch a movie again in theaters. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that, but it's very rare that I feel like I should watch it in the theaters again.
Yeah, fair.
All right, so a couple things I want to talk about. Let's talk about. I was doing some shopping. Well, I wasn't even shopping. I was just like walking around, and Square One in Mississauga now has a Conspiracy Comics. It's been there for a few years. I always forget that it's there, but it's there.
Okay.
Walk in just to see what's going on. Number one, it was packed. Good for them.
Good.
Number two, they had some copies of Dead Romans.
Woo.
Yeah. So picked up issue 2. So fucking good.
I only read issue 1, which was the intro. I bought issue 2 and 3 as well, but I haven't read them yet because I feel like when I get reading them, I'm going to want to go right to the next book. I'm already pissed off with having to wait. Like, damn it, that was just too much of an amuse-bouche. Like, it was just too much of a, like, oh, I'm just starting to get into this because now I feel like I got to read them all again because Fred's out there talking about these people so passionately, and I'm like, man, who? What? Oh, man, this sounds so cool, but I just kind of got to do a run of this mother. Like,
yeah, the last few comics that I felt so passionately about in terms of, like you said, where you would just want to keep reading, right? Outside of DC, like it's very rare that DC comics can get me like that. But I would have to say it was Rat Queens. Like, and we're talking what? This is 10 years ago now. Rat Queens was one that I'm like, I needed the next issue right away. To the point where I would buy them, but then I would buy the trade because I just needed to read the 5 issues and I didn't want to open up my 5 issues because they were impossible to find. The other book that I would say was kind of like that was Saga when I got into it. Saga was just like so freaking good.
yeah.
Well, and I'm so happy it's back.
And it's as well, the storylines are intense. The action's intense. The you know what I mean? Like it's like starting up John Wick 4, which I finally saw, and watching the first 20 minutes of it and then hitting pause. It's like, no, 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 no. You just can't stop this action passionate thing and I know Fred's finding places to pause it, which make more sense, but it's still so hard to pick up the intensity of the week of the month before when it's a month before. And I'm just like, no, I want to pick up those issues and maybe read them a day apart from one another and just, graphic novel them type thing. Which I see that they have a graphic novel option on Amazon to order it physically. But
After after 5 comics, Image
yeah,
always releases the trade paperback.
exactly. So I'm looking forward to it, but just so people can see, it's like, yeah, it's I've got it on my Kindle here. Sorry. On my Kindle, so it's like, yeah,
You have to
you can find it.
send
You
that
can
more.
find it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't show well, but you can find it digitally pretty easily, and then you don't have to worry about your physical copy because you're always going to have your physical copy in your
Yep.
bag, right?
Yep.
So
So I'm super excited to get Fred back on the show. We're just waiting for the right time because he has so many stuff going on and just want to be able to talk about everything that he's working on in one foul swoop.
yeah, and I'll give him this little shout out right now is that he started back up with Mud 79. I think he's re-recording season 1 or retouching
Yeah.
it, like
He's remixing.
remixing it to his new standard because season 2 is just huge as well. So
I
I thought season 1 was great. I found the story was really topical to Star Wars. I love the tactical end of describing the battlefield and the Empire and whatnot, and how they interpreted the rebellion's tactics and things like that. And I'm looking forward to more of it. And just everything with the Inquisitors and everything like that.
yeah.
I have to go back and re-listen to it as well.
Yeah. Look, I've learned this even over the past 6 weeks that I've been in charge of the main radio show, right? Like, I've gotten better at sound and sound quality and just like mixing and making stuff sound really good. So I can only imagine how he feels with this huge novella that he has going on, how he feels a lot more comfortable, right? I sent him a DM and it's called him George Lucas. I'm like, already changing the original, buddy.
Exactly. Download them now off of his YouTube channel because he's uploading it on the audio, but he hasn't updated the YouTube yet. If you want the originals, because once they're gone, people, they're gone.
Yep. Speaking of once they're gone, they will be gone. Man, this is like I know we come to the subject often, but you're starting to hear this more and more and more, right? Especially since the big write-off that WB Discovery did last year, right? Especially with
Yeah.
with HBO Max at the time and stuff disappearing with removing stuff and putting it to the free services. I forget what those
Angry
are
Phil
specifically
is
called,
Angry Phil is
right?
already in the house. Yeah.
And you've brought this up many times, right?
Yep.
There's and you say this is why I buy shit. And we're seeing this more and more with WB Discovery and Disney. And Disney is looking and they're thinking about removing more movies and shows from Disney Plus and Hulu. So this, remember when they were talking about streaming services, it's like, this is our entire collection, everybody. You're going to love this. Everything is going to be there. And then we, with Tyler, joked, watch them do the stupid vault gimmick with this.
Yep.
And that's exactly what is going on.
This is where it's going to force the marketplace, people like myself in the marketplace, to start being way more mercurial with our subscription. So it's going to be like 1 month, go to Netflix. The next month, go to Disney. The next month, go to Apple. The next month, you know what I mean? Like, just sit there and go, okay, consume on my schedule, and then get like okay, whatever. I hope I'm gonna try timing Disney for this because this is coming back. The Mandalorian's coming back, so I can watch it. Now, thankfully, it's not that bad yet, but they removed bloody Willow. They just
Yep.
released that last November,
So
and they're
this is
citing
what they've
cost.
already removed. They removed Willow, Why the Last Man, Dollface, Mysterious Benedict Society, and Disney is expected to incur a content impairment charge of $1.5 billion, meaning that the company can remove that much from its tax sheet.
Yeah, ridiculous. They removed the Malcolm McDonald, who's the guy from Jurassic Park, the scientist. You remember
Oh,
the guy with the
yeah.
glasses? They
Yeah,
removed
The
his
Fly.
show. Yeah, The
Did they?
Fly. Yeah, they removed his show.
I love how most of our listeners probably have no idea who we're talking about, because we use like the
I know, right?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum, that's it. Dr. Malcolm. That's why I said Malcolm. So anyhow, yeah, Jeff Goldblum's show on there apparently got removed. I don't know if that's true or not, but
See,
like the bullets are flying right now, and there's no avenue. If you're a fan, like, it's fine if they get a bonus or a write off or whatever of 1.1 billion for taking out Willow, fine, go ahead. Like, honestly, I can't fault you for running your business that way. I don't expect you to take the hit of 1.1 billion or whatever it is, but at least offer the fans an ability to collect it and preserve it. It belongs to the fans. This is just, one of those things where I'm like, I actually pre-ordered off of Amazon The Last of Us 4K Blu-ray because I
that's
don't want to get
exactly.
caught. Like, at least
Yep.
they did it. That's not a bad thing to do for your fan base. I want that forever. I want the extra deleted scenes. I want all of the outtakes that they have on those discs. I want to drink it all in and enjoy it and consume it and just go, wow, what an event that was. Whereas if they start playing this stupid game with Star Wars, oh, we're only going to release the original trilogy on May the 4th for 1 week only. Go get bent, buddy. I got to shuffle them back here.
Yep. But that's exactly it, right? Like, there needs to be a physical release of this stuff, because I don't know. I can see this becoming a much bigger issue. I can see these companies leaving their on-demand streaming service site as bare as possible. So collect, guys. Do what you did, Phil, with The Last of Us. Buy what you gotta buy, because I see this becoming a bigger issue, right? The great write down of
Yep.
of this era.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, government, fix your crap. Don't make these loopholes for these companies to exploit. Like, this is absolutely tragic. You have these companies. I'm sorry, I'm going to go really big picture here, but you have this company in Disney that's sitting there and going, we got to save $1.1 billion. And they're screwing the writers.
Yep.
On this negotiation. They are
Well,
screwing them. And like taking away these people's livelihoods, taking away their benefits, taking away all of these things and treating them as gig workers and not full-time employees. And they expect them to work harder than full-time employees. And that's just absolutely disgraceful. And there needs to be, I know I'm not a huge fan of government interventions and things like that, but there needs to be some kind of guidelines or punishment or accountability within all of these systems to go, no, people actually have to be able to make a livelihood. You're not allowed to just kind of fake it with an AI program and one person trying to pretend like they're 50. That type of thing.
And that's the thing, right? Like, let's and you took this exactly where I wanted to take this, and that's in terms of, not only are they getting a tax write-off for this stuff, but think of the writers. Think of people who get residual checks on this stuff.
Yeah.
It's gone from the system. So now you don't even have to pay these people out.
Yeah. You're screwing so many people on this. So many
So
people.
I do agree.
And the
with you.
residuals, residuals on this have to be probably pennies a glass. Just like Like, how does anybody make money off of Spotify? You know what I mean? Like you got full-time musicians sitting there getting checks cut for 12 cents every 2 weeks or something. It's ridiculous because they've negotiated the crap out of everything to be worthless. And then they start taking it away because they're getting billion-dollar bonuses on the flip side to remove the content. There's something wrong here for everybody because we're all paying money each month into their pockets for all of this stuff. And yet the biggest bonus is coming from the government going, oh yeah, here's break 1.1 billion. Yoink. I'm telling you what
that's
they
the
need
thing,
to do
right?
is
Like, not
designate
only are these
Mandalorian as Canadian content because Carson Teva, Paul Sun Young Lee is in it. So
right, but that's the thing, right? Like, and this is a ballsy time for these major companies to do more write-offs like this because they, in my opinion, are justifying the writers even more. Because, like I said, let's like just on the residuals alone, you're being cheap, right? So the government, and then you're getting a tax write-off, so it's like the double loophole right there. So yes, we talked about this in our last episode, and I do agree that there needs to be more government intervention and this isn't like take it over. This is more prevent these major companies, prevent Disney, prevent WB Discovery to be able to do this stuff.
yep. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Wow.
It is
We're salty
ridiculous
tonight.
No, but this is the thing, right? Like, just seeing these major companies, like, have you seen Riot Games and the whole hoopla that's going on at Riot Games?
Well, isn't that place always a dumpster fire? It's
Well,
like,
it is a dumpster fire, but now they're fucking with the League of Legends pro players.
oh, great.
So much so that the players are striking.
Oh, well, that video games are supposed to be fun again.
Right?
Well, I just have to look at Bobby Kotick this past week coming out and saying, hey, actually, there's no proof of any harassment going on anywhere. Like, there's not a picture of a whole bunch of dudes sitting on a bed with Bill Cosby above them. Like, there's not a whole bunch of people who got paraded to get fired out of that company for sexual harassment. Like, no, the history books will show that we're actually a really nice company and no wrongdoings were done. Like, it's unbelievable the freaking arrogance of these CEOs to get up there and try to erase all this wrongdoing and whatnot. And I just feel like that's par for the course now.
It
You know,
really
like,
is. It really is.
Riot Games are going to piss on their players. Blizzard's going to piss on their players. Like, rewrite history, because guess who rewrites history? The victors.
Yep.
As long as we allow them to win, they're just going to walk all over us.
Yep. All right. So we're done for this week. But Phil, I'll tell you right now what we're going to be talking about next week. And this is a subject that we need our friend Tyler for. And I'm just going to read the headline where I thought, or what inspired me for our topic du jour. And it was going to be our topic du jour if Tyler was around, but he wasn't. So I'm going to save this bad boy. This is the headline. A synthetic NPR host, AI startup, Said Labs, makes amazing, quote, planet money, end quote, voice clone. They created a whole podcast using AI.
Is it Max Headroom?
And it's a whole series in exploring the evolving relationship between humans and machines, examining the ways that robots, artificial intelligence, and automation are impacting our work and lives.
Ugh.
And this is live, and this is legit. Holy shit.
Oh. I'll guiltily confess that I had a subscription to Endel for a while, which was Grimes's AI music program, because I was so curious and I had to end it. I got so creeped out. I was just like, nope, we're done. We're never going back there again, please.
Yeah. Man, we're going to be replaced. Can you imagine? All hail Disney and WB Discovery. That's gonna be the end of this.
Yeah, exactly. It's just gonna be propaganda robots sitting there going, The overlords pay us well. Listen to us now. Become a battery. Enlist in the Matrix. Anyhow, we'll
Right?
talk about Ted Lasso at another point as well. But for this week, we want you to visit us at www.itscanonpodcast.com. You can check our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at It's Canon Podcast. You can email us at show@itscanonpodcast.com. You can subscribe anywhere where you find podcasts. We are there. You can also find us on Patreon at the patreon.com/SNME radio. And be sure to, check us out on YouTube as well at itscanonpodcast.com or It's Canon Podcast. And leave a like and subscribe if you can. And as well, thanks for listening. Tell a friend. And, leave a good review on any podcast programs that you have.
Yeah. Yep. Again, thank you so much for listening to the It's Canon Podcast.com. Oh my God, I'm tired. Thank you for listening to the It's Canon Podcast, the show where we chat about anything and everything, including games, movies, comics, TV shows, AI. Fuck, maybe next week, that's what we got to do. Have the whole episode and discussion done by AI.
Don't, please don't.
I'm not even going to open up that Pandora's box.
Lego is expensive. What are you humans doing?
Oh my God.
You just bought plastic.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for listening. On behalf of Phil, Tyler, and myself, take care.